Good day, dear friends. Welcome to another episode of the Culinary Masterclass supported by la Fondation pour la Formation Hôtelière. Today we will prepare a nice specialty, filet mignons. We will wrap them a little with bacon, so that the bacon gives a dose of juiciness, fat, a bit of that smoky taste and smell, and simply to enrich the dish with a very high quality cured meat product. Mignons are 3 equal pieces of meat, as you already learned in that lesson on beef tenderloin that we covered earlier. Mignons are 3 equal pieces of meat cut from beef fillet with a total weight of 180 grams to 250 grams. You decide what the weight will be, depending on whether you will have several dishes or just one dish that you will offer to your guests. As a side dish with the mignons, I will prepare and serve a nice risotto with zucchini and Swiss chard, so you will see how risotto is prepared. Let's start with the preparation. Let's turn on our heater. First, we will start with the preparation of the risotto, because the risotto takes much longer to prepare than the mignon. Depending on the type of rice, the preparation takes from 16 to 20 minutes, and we always use half round or round grain rice to prepare risotto, never long grain rice. Cut the red onion into small cubes. If you are not expert in chopping or don't like it, there is no need to bother. Take a kitchen appliance, a chopper or something similar, and chop the onion in that appliance. Our pan got hot. I've already emphasized several times, you always heat the pan and only then add the oil, which heats up automatically, and then immediately put the food to be fried. When we prepare risotto, we need to use a deeper pan or pot, a casserole, because we will be constantly mixing and basting the risotto, so it is better and easier to use a deeper pan. You notice that I took the pan off the heat. My pan got a little overheated and then I cooled it down a bit by taking it off the heat. Fry the onion until it turns brown, of course with constant stirring. When the onion turns brown, add the rice and fry the rice until it heats up and starts to squeak like when we walk on dry snow. That's the sound you hear when you stir it. When the rice has warmed up and starts to sizzle, then add the white wine, and after half a minute add the stock. The onion is slightly browned and now we add the rice. We added the semi-round grain. Now we stir the rice until it warms up, so that the pores on the rice open up, and then we pour the white wine over it. We stir the rice constantly until it warms up. Now it starts to squeal slightly. It means that our rice is warmed up. Now add the white wine. You see, since the rice was hot, the pores opened. When we added the white wine, it immediately heated up. The alcohol started to evaporate and the rice absorbed the aroma of the white wine. Mix until the rice absorbs everything and then pour the stock. This is the vegetable stock. I prepared it the day before from all the bits and pieces of vegetables I found in the fridge. Of course, now I have heated the stock and pour the hot stock over the rice. We always add a little stock, depending on the amount of risotto. So the risotto is poured a little at a time and constantly stirred. By pouring and stirring, the rice releases its starch, which will give the risotto its creamy structure. That's why we don't cover the rice with a liter of stock and cover it to cook. This rice has more starch and then everything could burn if we don't stir it constantly. Now I will chop the zucchini. I decided to add zucchini and chard to the risotto because the rice will provide starch, and the zucchini and chard a dose of vitamins, fiber and minerals, while we will get proteins and fat from our minions and bacon, so that we cover all the nutritional needs of the body. I don't peel the zucchini because this is a homemade zucchini. I know it's not sprayed with any chemicals, so we just wash the skin and use it all. If you know the origin of your food and vegetables and you are sure of the quality and that they are of organic origin, then you can use most of them without peeling the skin. That's why I don't peel this zucchini now. It's too early to add the zucchini and Swiss chard. We'll leave it and add it 5 minutes before the end of the risotto. Now we will start preparing the minions. First, we will wrap the minions with bacon. Here I have nice thin strips of bacon, and we wrap each strip around one minion, and then secure it with a toothpick so that the bacon doesn't unroll while it's being fried with the minions. Can you see? We wrap it nicely around the minion and form a real circle, and fasten it with a toothpick. All meats that do not have enough fat can be wrapped with a little bacon to add a little fat and a little smoky taste. Preferably longer strips of bacon so you can wrap them around the minions in one piece. While preparing the mignon, always add a little and mix the risotto. As I already pointed out, we always add warm stock. I prepared this vegetable stock yesterday and now I reheated it and use it to prepare risotto. You also notice that I first started preparing the risotto and only now I am preparing the minions. Pay attention to that. Since it takes about 20 minutes to prepare risotto and about 5 to 7 minutes for mignons, we started with the risotto first and now we will start with the mignons so that both the side dish and the meat are served at the same time and then everything is served completely hot. When you prepare something at home or in a restaurant, pay attention to this. Everything should be ready at the same time and then everything should be served hot. If I had started preparing the mignons and risotto at the same time, the mignons would already be ready and would have cooled down by the time the risotto was ready to serve. You can prepare these mignons to be slightly cooked, to be bloody in the middle, or you can prepare them better cooked. It all depends on the wishes of your guests or your preferences if you are preparing this dish for yourself. Pour in the stock again. I didn't season the stock. I normally never season the sauce because I don't know what I'm going to use it for and how much I'll need. So it's easier for me to baste with unsalted stock and dose the spices directly into the dish. Since this stock is not seasoned at all, now I will add a little salt, a little pepper so that the rice absorbs the spices. Finally, I will add a little butter and some grated Parmesan to the rice. My risotto will be whitish in color, but when I serve it, I will cover it with a little mignon sauce and a little roasting sauce. I want to show you the variation that I told you about when we were making the roast sauce. Check out that lesson in that roast sauce video. Espagnole sauce. You see, we all have these ice trays at our house or in a restaurant. I poured the roasting sauce into these cubes, froze it, and now I have the sauce whenever I need it. I take out as many cubes of sauce as I need and use them to finish and enrich the dishes I am preparing. In this case, I will enrich the mignons by adding this sauce so that the mignons are slowly cooked in it after frying. The Espagnole takes a very long time to prepare, 3 to 4 hours, and is prepared once every 10 or 15 days. But then we freeze it this way or in some smaller containers or bags and use it when we need it. Now the pan has heated up, add oil to the pan and now put the mignons to fry. Now I added a little more oil to make the mignons and bacon easier to fry, but when the mignons are fried, before adding the sauce, we will shake off the fat from the pan and only then will we add the sauce. That way the sauce will not be too greasy. Now we will cut our Swiss chard into strips, and since the Swiss chard needs about 5 minutes of heat treatment in order for it to preserve the most nutritious elements in itself, and we need another 5 minutes to finish preparing the risotto, now we will add Swiss chard and zucchini to the rice, cover and mix. Now we're going to turn our mignons over. You can see how nicely brown they are, just as they should be, nicely fried, and they'll keep all their meat juices inside. We turned the mignons over and now I saw that I had a few strips of bacon left. I didn't plan to do this at all, but if I leave this bacon it will bother me in the fridge and after a few days it will dry out and won't be usable anymore. That's why I now thought of cutting the bacon into strips and adding it to the mignons to fry, and then I will drain the excess fat and baste it with roasting sauce. In this way, I will additionally enrich the mignon sauce with this chopped bacon. Here you see how recipes are created. You have some food left over and you decide to use it, and lo and behold, you have an unplanned new dish or you have enriched the dish you are preparing. So do you. Let what I prepare be only an inspiration. Look at the technique and method of preparing the dish and create your own recipes depending on the ingredients you have. Now we will shake off the excess fat from the pan. And then we will add chopped bacon to the pan to fry a little until it becomes crispy. I'm going to add a couple of cubes of sauce, cover it with a little stock and leave it for about 3 minutes so that all the flavors come together. You may have noticed that I did not salt the sauce or the mignons. I salted the mignons as soon as I took them out of the oil in which they were aged, and the sauce was already seasoned in advance. Now we will finish the risotto. We will add a little butter and a little Parmesan cheese. Here we add half a spoonful of butter. The butter will give our risotto a creamy taste and shine. Now we're going to grate some Parmesan cheese. The Parmesan cheese will bind our risotto together and give that sharp salty flavor to the risotto. Mix everything well. Shake the pan so that the risotto comes together and becomes creamy. When you prepare risotto, it should be creamy and of medium thickness. It should spread easily on the plate. It should not be so thick and hard that you can form some shapes from it. Then it is not risotto if it is so thick. Shake the pan with the mignons and the sauce a little. I think this is all done. We turn once and now we can serve everything. I took this beautiful plate. We serve the rice on it first and let it spread out gently on the plate. To repeat, if you get a risotto in a restaurant that is too thick or shaped into a shape, for example a cube, then it is not risotto. To be honest, I also made risotto that way at the beginning of my culinary career, but then I had the opportunity to work in Italy for a period and learn from top Italian chefs, and then I learned how to prepare risotto and real Italian pasta, as well as other specialties of Italian cuisine. This is how I'm going to lift the plate a bit and hit it so that the risotto is nicely distributed on the plate. Now we are going to serve the mignons. First we take the toothpicks out of the mignons because they are never served in the dish. We serve mignons in the middle. You always see the most expensive foods. In this case it's filet mignon. We always highlight the most expensive foods on the plate. Now we will add the sauce. We put fried bacon in the middle of the mignon, pour a little sauce over them and now sprinkle a little more sauce on the rice. We will add some decoration to the plate because we want our dish to be as beautiful as possible. For decoration, I will take a sprig of fresh basil, which, in addition to its appearance, will give our dish a nice aromatic note. Now we wipe the plate because we don't want fingerprints, spots of food, sauce or grease to be visible on the plate. The edge of the plate must be perfectly clean. Here we have a superb gastronomic dish that can be served in any top restaurant in the world. You can prepare this dish in a restaurant or at home if you want. To repeat, you can use these techniques to prepare your dishes, but you can add some other ingredients if you wish. For example, you can add Parmesan or tomatoes to the risotto. You can use some gorgonzola sauce or something similar. Create your own recipes from the ingredients you have in your home. I have now prepared this dish. I hope you like the recipe and method of preparation and that you have learned something new. Thank you for your attention. Until the next gathering, cook and enjoy. Bye.